Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Richard, and since selling my Tesla Model 3 Long Range, new one, the Highland, that's gone now and I'll miss it. But I've been driving a series of different cars to see what they're like and get to know them. So my recent car has been this, a VW ID3 Tour Pro S. It's the one with the big battery, 82 kilowatt hours, 77 usable. So that's actually a bigger battery than the Model 3 Long Range. So how have I found it going to this car? Well, there's a number of things I really like. There's a number of features it has that the Model 3 doesn't, that I do like. And there's a few things of always that I can pick apart that aren't so good. So in this video, I'm going to run through that and what do I think of the VW ID3 big battery Tour Pro S. You can tell by the amount of dead animals on the front here that I've been making good use of the car. So let's run through a few of the things. And right at the front here, what I do like is the headlights. The headlights are really good for a number of reasons. One, these are the matrix headlights, by the way, which you see on the ID3, not just on the Tour Pro S, but also on the other batteries. Not all of them, but some of them do have the matrix. Now, a couple of good things about this. One is they corner. They've actually got cornering movement in here. They move left and right with the steering. Secondly, they are really good bright white matrix LED. And the matrix means it can blank out cars in front of you, but give you a full high beam across the rest of the road. And especially on my kind of country drive, they are brilliant. They're very, very good. They're better than the Tesla Model 3 Highland, in fact. In fact, they're some of the best headlights I've ever used on any car, even better than the Porsche Matrix, I would say. So some of the best headlights around. Also, what I like is when you come out of your front door on a dark driveway at night, they then light up as soon as it detects that you're even around the car. So they give you a bit of ambient lighting. And then they do this cool little animation. They wake up and they look around a little bit. But they just illuminate a driveway before you even get to the car. Now, one of my gripes with the Tesla Model 3 was that it doesn't even have illuminated door handles. So you come out on a dark driveway, you can't see your car, you can't see the door handles. Whereas the ID3 here illuminates the headlights, illuminates puddle lights, illuminates the door handles, and it's just better. And that's why I really want Tesla to improve on that. But right at the front here, the headlights are very, very good indeed. Plus, you've also got this signature kind of running LED strip right across, and it looks pretty smart. I really like it, and the headlights are some of the best I've used. So this one's got the 19-inch alloy wheels, which give a nice balance. I think they look quite smart, and it gives a reasonable ride comfort. Now, I would say the ride on this isn't like a wafty ride, but it can even be a little bit choppy at times, but generally it's fine and acceptable. What I have found when you're driving is that this kind of A-pillar arrangement here with this B-pillar here can give a blind spot when you're going around some roundabouts. So as you're sitting in the driver's seat, going around certain roundabouts at a certain radius, this does give you a little bit of a blind spot. But coming down the side, like I say, we've got keyless entry, illuminated door handles, these are factory tinted rear windows. I really like this colour, I like the shape of it. I like the way it's not trying to be an SUV. It is actually quite high up, but it's not trying to be an SUV. It means you can get in and out easily without kind of dropping down or banging your head. I also like down the side here, you've got these plastic skirts which actually stop the stone chips coming up and stone chipping here. My Model 3 was already starting to get one or two stone chips on this back quarter panel here. So what do you think of the design? I mean, design's always subjective. It is like the Golf. It does a bit of everything. It's not offensive, but it's quite smart and modern. So I like it. Now, let me know in the comments below what you think. But be nice, don't be horrible. But I think it's just a quite smart looking thing. It's nice. And again, the rear I think is really smart. So we've got this kind of extended roof line on top of the hatch here. You do have a rear wiper, which you need because it does get quite dusty and dirty. It really picks up the road dirt at the back here, like a lot of hatchbacks do. What I really like is the car has a reversing camera behind the badge here. So when you go to reverse, this pops open and the reversing camera is there. And that means it stays clean. Again, so many cars have the reversing camera at the back, but they're just in the bottom of the bumper or somewhere where it gets covered in dirt and you can't see anything. So the fact that when you go to reverse, this reversing camera pops out here and it's always clean, I think is brilliant. It does have on this particular one as well, the front and the reversing camera. Now, each one of those cameras also has a good wide angle view. So when you are pulling out of a driveway, for example, with a blind exit on the road, you can't see a lot. You've got a wide angle view in those cameras, so you can actually creep out and you can see down the road in both directions. So that's a really good, useful feature for some people, including myself. So good cameras, parking sensors as well, a smart design. Again, these back lights, when you unlock the car, have got some nice light animations to them. You can choose a couple of different types. Also, because this is quite square, it's a very practical car. So we've just used this car to move 4 big alloy wheels and tyres from a Tesla Model S, and they all fitted in. So again, although this car isn't very big, it's really good, usable, practical space. A nice good sized boot area. There's a bit of storage under the boot where you might keep a bit of cable or something like that. The seats fold down to give you that nice access, and you've also got a ski hatch in there as well. But again, for not very big car, nice and practical. And the rear seat space is very good. I'll show you that in a moment. So in the back, this is it. It's actually a pretty good. I'm 6 foot tall, I've got enough headroom, I get my feet under the seat in front, and I've got knee room. Now this seat is in my position, which is actually quite a long way back. I can lift up the headrest here, and I can sit quite comfortably. Now what you may notice is that because this is the big battery version and has a really big 77 kilowatt hour pack under here, the same as they fit in many a car like the ID.3, Q4 e-tron, ID Buzz, but because it's a big pack and the weight implications of that, I believe, is the reason why there is no middle seat in the back here. So this is strictly a 4-seater. There's no seat belt. Instead there's a little recess here, you can put your phone in there, something like that, but you cannot get the big battery version of this car with 5 seats. Centre armrest though, and for 4 adults you can sit really quite comfortably. It's no problem at all. I actually like the seat materials in this particular version. We've got Isofix in the back, and like I say, there's a ski hatch here for through load as well. It's a comfortable car to sit in the back of. It's really quite reasonable. So you consider that, for example, the Tesla Model 3 is a much longer car. I would rather sit in the back of this. My knees aren't forced up like they are on the Tesla Model 3 because you've got more between the floor and the seat base, and I can sit here quite comfortably. It's okay. The main criticism I have is that there's no rear air vents, and I don't understand that. This is a family car, so you want rear air vents. Okay, the air conditioning or heating comes through from the front, but there should even just be a little vent down here. Instead I've got just 2 USB-C sockets, thank you very much, but an air vent here or down here or both really is a big criticism of mine for the back of this car. But otherwise, to sit in, the space is very good. In the front here, it's quite well appointed, this car. It's got a good specification. So this one's got electric memory seats. Now some of the 2021 versions I've had and driven don't have electric memory seats, but they have electric seats. What they often seem to have though is a massage function. So it just moves the lumbar around in the back. It's not too clever, but it's nice to have. It does move it in about 3 segments on your back. So a massage seats in a car like this. It is easy to hit the haptic button and bring on voice commands when you don't want it to, so I don't like the haptic buttons on the steering wheel, but it looks nice here. I've got a console here giving me some of the critical information like speed, range, and some of the what I call the autopilot systems. It has the lane assist and adaptive radar cruise control. But this car also has head-up display. So I've got head-up display, again, showing me the lane assist and adaptive speed, but also with the navigation set on the car, it gives me an augmented overlay of where to turn. So as I approach the junction, it gives me a little arrow further ahead, and as I approach, it keeps that arrow on the junction, and you can very clearly see then as you approach it that you need to turn left or right onto that junction. So augmented head-up display navigation, very good. It also strobes the light bar across the front of the dashboard here, so it will strobe left when you have to turn left and strobes right, and it goes red if it's getting nervous about something. And that's something that I think could be integrated with the Tesla Model 3 Highland, because that now has a light bar as well. But basically, the advantage of those systems I've found is that you can have just a navigation on mute. It might be a route you're fairly familiar with, or even not, but you can have that on mute, not interrupt your music or podcast or whatever you're listening to, and still follow the directions easy enough because you've got that head up and the light bar there. So that's good. Having just air vents you move around, I guess that's okay, but it does kind of sit right in front of my knee, so I was finding the air conditioning has to be kind of pushed up a little bit so it wasn't blowing on my knee here. The software is, of course, more simple than a Tesla. It doesn't have as many functions to it, but it's usable, it's fine. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, so you can use Waze, Google, Apple Maps, whatever you want. But if you use Google or Apple Maps, then you won't have the head-up display navigation, so you have to change how you work with that, but it's okay. The radio, the sound quality is okay, it's not amazing. That's where the Tesla Model 3 Long Range has a very good speaker system, so that's on a different league to this. But it really is quite functional in here. It's got sort of plasticky trims, but a little bit squishy, so it doesn't feel like it's a low spec or anything like that, but it doesn't feel super premium either, but it's quite smart and functional. One thing that does bug me a little bit of how it drives is that the assist systems, where it always kind of lane keeps you, is on every time you drive it. You can go to assist here and you can turn it off, but it's on every single time you drive it otherwise. But again, we've got indicators and wiper stalks now, and the auto wipers work, which I don't in a Model 3 Highland. So that's all been quite good. It's been quite good to drive. The centre console here is quite functional, a couple of cup holders, a little bit of storage there for sunglasses, although I always like it when a car has a sunglasses holder up there. I've got one wireless phone charger here, which is handy to have. Again, I do miss having two with the Model 3 Highland. And then quite a big storage area down here where you can put bottles and bigger things with two USB ports. And you'll see here we've got armrests, and I can pull these out of the way, but having these armrests is really rather nice to have. It means you can put this, you can adjust it like that and get exactly how you like it. So I've found the seats are comfortable. Add to that, we've got the adjustable thigh supports as well, which a Model 3 Highland doesn't have. And it really stacks up to be something that I've really quite enjoyed driving in, sitting in. It's a more comfortable seat. I've got the massage function. I've got a nice adjustable armrest, head-up display with augmented nav, and a usable, sensible software system that's okay. VW get criticised for software. Well, look, we've got an ID.3 at home. It's not the big battery version like this. It's the 58, but ours has basically been fine. I had to go to the dealer to have a software update, which again, after owning a Tesla, seems a bit prehistoric, but it generally has been functional fine without any problems to it. So it's been okay and it's reasonable to use. Plus you've got your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So all very functional, all pretty decent. I can't really complain. The wipers sweep upwards from both corners, and I quite like that. It actually clears the whole windscreen really well, apart from that very tiny little bit, which is above where the rear view mirror is anyway. So having your wipers sweeping like this, fine by me. Really nice, good clear windscreen. Big wiper blades though. What I call the autopilot system I actually quite like using as well. So it doesn't kind of feel like it controls lane centering as well as maybe a Tesla Model 3, but what it does allow you to do is, for example, you've got a pothole and you want to move her slightly over in the lane, it lets you do that and you let go and it kind of gets it back in line again. It also adapts to the speed limits really well. So a section of road I use 70 miles an hour goes down to 50. The Teslas don't change, they just carry on through at 70 miles an hour. This recognises it's 50 coming up, it reads the road signs, it then adjusts to 50, and as you cross the 50 miles per hour speed limit, it is doing 50 miles per hour. So you can just leave its adaptive cruise control on, leave its autopilot system on, and actually I find that really quite nice and usable. I think the Teslas will be capable of doing more because when you go around some corners and country lanes, you feel they've got that lane centering much more controlled. But this one, it's just more usable. You can have it on, you can not have it disengage and re-engage it all the time. And it does its thing really quite well. And it really is quite pleasant to drive. It doesn't feel as fast as after coming from a Tesla, but it's pretty good, it's okay. It's quite the equivalent to about 200 brake horsepower on the rear wheels in a hatchback. So it goes down the road okay. It rides a little bit choppy, but it's okay. And again, it's a bit like the VW Golf. It does everything quite well. It's not especially exciting, but it does it all really quite nicely and well. It's quite quiet inside. I've found long motorway journeys not only comfortable with the seats, but it's actually quite a quiet cabin. It's well isolated from wind and road noise. So it's, for its size of car, really quite nice to be in. So that's my quick summary of the ID.3 Tour. But firstly, what does it really do for real-world range with that big battery? Well, I've been getting anywhere between 250 and 320 miles of range. About 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour to 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, depending on the roads and the conditions, how you're driving. It's been quite good, I would say. 300 miles is really quite achievable with this car. And that again puts it back in line with the Tesla Model 3 long ranges. So on the used market, we're now seeing these with a big battery like this for about £25,000. And for that, you've got a car that's a good practical all-rounder with some nice tech and spec and some really good daily features, but with also good range. Now, my wife has the 58 kilowatt hour version. That's probably the most common version you'll see of the ID.3. And the real world range on there might normally allow about 200 miles. But the ID.3 Tour with the 77 usable, let's say best part of 300 miles real world range with this car. So that's my few days with the ID.3 Tour. I really quite like it. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's a good all-rounder, and for its size, also very practical, comfortable to be in. It's a good spec. So I really like it. I really do. been actually quite a pleasant change to drive it, and I quite like it. So there we have it. I'll wrap it up for here, but we've got more videos coming with other reviews as I drive cars for a few days and get to really kind of know them in more detail than just trying them out for an afternoon. So stay subscribed and you'll see them coming soon.